Hello and welcome back everyone. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make some models pretty quickly. And I have this secret folder for concept art, and it's just basically a downloaded ArtStation folder, but I'll open one up and just look at some of the reference. Whoever drew this, thank you. I've been looking at this. It's the 001 in here, and I always see it first. But these shapes in here would be hard to model, like this top one. It's sort of like a cylinder, but then it's extruded back, but it has these rounded shapes on the front. This would be rather hard to model, but I'm going to show you a method to model something like this a lot more easily. And well, it might not be the prettiest method, but it's a good way to concept things. Like just like this is concepts, there's a way to do it in 3D as well. Let me get those out of here, but we'll start with this cube here. And I'll just add in the couple modifiers. So I'll go add modifier, generate, and mirror. And I'll set it to bisect. And then on this one, I'm going to go ahead and do remesh. So there we go. And so we have a remesh modifier on there. And like I was showing, this has that rounded cylinder in the front. So I'll just bevel this right here on the front right here with Control B. I'll turn on the hotkeys so you can see everything. There you go. So down here is the hotkeys. I don't really think I'll use a whole lot of hotkeys. Well, there goes 5 right now. But anyway. So I'll just shade this to smooth, but that's not going to do a thing in this moment. We'll actually have to use it here. So smooth shading is in the actual modifier for this one, because it's replacing all the geometry that was there with this generated geometry. So this is assigning smooth shading to the new geometry. Okay, so let's look at go ahead and make this extrude down a little bit. Now I'm not going to model this one-to-one. I'm just going to roughen these shapes. The whole point of this is to be kind of fast. And then there's this, let's say, a cutout shape here. So from this front view, we could add in a boolean right in here. But I'm going to join these together. I'm not going to do a normal boolean where you use the modifier. I'm just going to actually do the boolean into the mesh itself, because this is supposed to be fast and sloppy. I've heard that before, but that's a different industry. So I'll just select this and then hit Control F and do intersect boolean, and there we go. So we've got a little bit of a cutout there. And now we're going to use the cylinder to make this shape, the little forward pointing antennas. I'll go to edit mode and just do it in here. So cylinder, and I'm going to decrease this a little bit because 32 would be, I mean, it doesn't matter, but I don't want to, just cause a bunch of Boolean issues. So, all right, we're just going to bring this up a little bit. And I think they had 2 in there. I might make it look a little more interesting if this one had 2 as well. And all it was just kind of bring it back and beveled this some. And then we'll just bring this over. And then bevel this front. And you could extrude this in if you would like. Okay, and we don't even have to do anything. We don't need to bevel that or boolean it. It will just remesh onto the actual geometry. And you can set the voxel size up or down. The smaller it gets, the more fine the voxels get. So the voxels get smaller, the mesh resolution gets higher. But the trick is to get it to where it doesn't get so small that it's just like it was normally. Like that's starting to become the same exact surfaces. I want it to sort of be softer and blend. That way it's more this concept look. And maybe I could come in here and bevel this top on here. Just do like that. And then that means I might want to move these down a little bit. And then there's like this little dome piece up here, so we can add that in easily enough. You know what? I'm going to give the cone a chance. It never sees the day. It never sees daylight in this facility, so we'll just add the cone in there and bevel it down. That cone couldn't have been happier. It's been waiting a long time for that. And now we've got it in place. And, everybody's looking for a job these days. So we'll just maybe move this out. I don't think I did that right. Is that gonna work? Well, of course it'll work because we're remeshing like, we don't have any sense. Okay. All right, next we can do a little cutout shape right here. So let's have a look at that. So I'll just do a cube here. And this is all in edit mode. I don't really care that there's a, I don't care if it's a Boolean modifier right now. I'm just kind of going with it. There we go. Now I can just bring that back because the base mesh, you see how low poly the base mesh is. It's not like I'm doing anything that's, really crazy. And it seems like there's this panel line in here. So we might be able to get away with that as well. I'll just actually go to edit mode on here. And I think all we need to do for that panel line is just knife. I'm going to hit, I'm going to do KCA. There we go. And then I'll just control B and extrude that in. I'm hitting Alt S to scale that inward. And it doesn't really, remain. It's kind of destroying it. Let me try extruding that again. Maybe get it a little deeper. I think the resolution would have to get a little higher to keep that. Yeah, it would have to get a little bit higher. So in order to keep that, I think I would have to lower these again and then lower this a little bit. The bigger shapes will stay, but not the smaller ones. Now we got it. So we'd have to just make it a little bit bigger, maybe bigger than it was, intentionally designed. But what I'm doing here is just destroying the mesh. But what I'm going to do is just project these two straight back right here, and then just knife this and hit GG. GG. Actually, no, I want to bevel this, and I'll slide this back. And what I'm going to do is snap this one right on top right there, and snap this one right on top right there, and then slide those in and just hit M and just by distance. There we go. You know what, was it even worth playing with this? Let's just do like that. I just was sliding these around to give it a little bit of a transition out, so it looks kind of cool. All right, what else was there? Well, there's this little side cylinder. That would be simple enough. We'll just add it about right here. So I'll just go in here and add in a cylinder. Bring it over. And what was its shape? All right, just like this. All right, let's just make sure that it kind of looks like it's all connected though. Might have to be a little bit bigger. I think my proportions are a little off to what we're looking at, but that's okay. And then it has this little cutout. We'll at least do the little cutout down here. And I always think that having some reference will be good. I've done a few takes on this video just to test this out again. And as soon as I pulled the reference up, well, I felt like I did a lot better. So it's always good to have reference. Unless you're like, really, I don't know. Okay, another thing that you can do, now you're starting to see what I'm talking about with this basically, is to add in, let's see, there's a few things that you could do, but I'm going to do deform and smooth, and we'll look at that. But I'm going to save. Make sure you save this. I'm just going to chuck this into downloads, but make sure you save before you start playing with some smooth. It might crash. I mean, even any of this stuff, just make sure you're saving. But smooth will kind of, well, smooth it out. So maybe 50, and that didn't even take it. So, well, my num block is off. All right, 25. Okay, so let's talk about if you actually wanted to commit this, or like get better geometry from this, what could you possibly do? And well, there's a few things that you could do. I think I lost my little cone. Did I delete that? Huh. Maybe one of the booleans deleted it, but that cone is happy to have another chance again, 2 in 1 day for the cone. There we go. And you know what? I'll just do this little design right here where you just project this across and then just select this face, hit I, extrude it down. There you go. And you know, if you wanted to, you could even, well, you could just knife in, we'll just knife this face in half and then we'll knife this one by holding shift and getting the middle edge. So you create this little triangle. So hold shift and then click there. Now hold shift and click there. And then hold shift and click there. And this will give you a triangle. Then you can hit I to inset that and then extrude it in. And there you go. Classic little sci-fi shape. Okay. So what if you wanted to actually, you know, use this geometry, like create like game ready topology from it? Well, you could retopo it. There's a lot of processes to that. You could, you know, put a perfect, you could try to come in here and, well, since we have the base mesh, I mean, really, that's what I would start with. You already have the base mesh. That's really the great part about this. You have the base mesh to go with, and right here, and all you'd have to do is just merge this stuff together officially, and like you could go through and just boolean each thing together. So control F and then do intersect boolean, but in this one you would do union in the redo panel. And if you have an issue, set it to float. Sometimes that exact solver does the exact opposite of what you would like. And there we go. So all that is merged, but you know, this is actually creating some issue on this last one. Let me just back this up. So if I hit L on this, I just need to hide these two. And then what I'll do is merge this one. So control F, and there we go, we merged it. Just check everything is looking correct in wireframe view and that there's not a bunch of geometry that got pushed into the model behind it. Now this might be a little issue right here with the intersections like that. So I'll just bring that up so those faces aren't touching. And I'll hide one of these. L, control F, merge, bring back the other one, L, control F, and merge it in, union and float. There we go. And let's check inside here. Everything seems to be merged together properly. And if you had any issues, always select everything and hit shift N to recalculate your normals. Sometimes booleans don't work when the normals are flipped. But yeah, that is basically this little strategy here. And well, I'll show you the last thing, you know, that you could do. You can always, you know, you'll have to come in here and like retopologize this thing if you want to, you know, use this base mesh, but you can also just set it up as I just added a plane in here and just rotated it. And what I'll do is add in generate and mirror. All right. And I'll set it to clipping. Now this is a bit of retopology. So I'm in edit mode on this, and here's how you would set up retopology. You need to select this button right here, that's snapping, and then click this drop down and set it to face and say align rotation to target and face projection. Okay, so set that. And I think that will be it. Let's make sure I said that right. Yeah, I think that's the right settings. Okay, so once you've set this like you see here, okay, you can keep it on permanently by pushing that. Otherwise, you have to hold control. Okay, you'll have to hold control while you move things. But if you push that little button, now it's on permanently. And what you can do is go to the edit mesh mode overlays and select retopology. All right, and now it will actually display like this. You can turn this mirror on or off if you want. For some reason, it's like doesn't want to show the other mirror side. That's okay. But since we're on right here, this is permanently on. It's just going to snap all the geometry to whatever under the mouse. So you could just come through here and, you know, start low poly as you can always when you're doing retopology, and then just add in the details later. So maybe something like that, you know, and then this could come through here. And this one could come up to underneath right there. Just always go as big and as fat as you can. That is always the secret to retopology. And then go in and add your loop cuts kind of after you've at least done a full wraparound on that model. Like, you know, it's good to see where things will line up. Retopology can take a very long time, and basically you might have to even start over if you go too high poly too fast. So there is some, this geometry has reached around to the backside, and what that will do is let me know where to come up to in other instances. So like I know that I have these two to connect up, you know, like this. But anyway, I think you get the point. And you can select two and then hit M and say at first, at last, whatever you want to do. And this is what I was saying, you can add in loop cuts, so something like that, at last. And you could go in and do your retopology on this, but you know, I'm not even doing a great job. I just wanted to show you that. And that was under this right here, this retopology stuff. But anyway, I was just giving you a little tour of what you could do here. But yep, I think that was it for this one. I hope you enjoy that and have fun making your own stuff. See you.